Good morning, my friends. Welcome to episode 3 of my Lift with Levana podcast. I'm your host, Levana Loma, and I'm excited about today's show. We are going to dive into all of the do's and don'ts of strength training. So this is going to be your basic guide to getting the best results from your strength training program, and basically how to, get the most and avoid injury and avoid burnout and avoid all the things that you don't want to do along the way. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And we will start off with one of my biggest do's, and that is do get adequate protein. So once you set out on a strength training regiment and you are in the gym at least 3 times a week doing regular strength training exercises, you need to understand the importance of getting the right amount of protein in your diet so that your body has access to the essential amino acids that it needs in order to rebuild and repair muscle tissue so that you can get more lean muscle mass. So with that said, I like to tell people to aim to get at least 100 grams of protein a day. But really it's going to be about a gram or 1.2 grams of protein for every pound of body weight is what you really should be consuming. But at the low end of that, I would say to go for no less than 100 grams of protein a day. So basically, for me, at 140 pounds, I consume about 140 to 150 grams of protein a day. So this can definitely be difficult, and it does take some practice. It does take, knowing what your very high protein types of foods are without going over on fat or excess calories. So it's a little tricky. It can be a little bit hard at times, but it can be done, and it just takes a little bit of effort. Some of the things that I like to do are adding egg whites into your recipes. Specifically, I add liquid egg whites to my protein smoothies, or if you are having like an egg omelet, you can do one whole egg and then the rest of it be egg whites so that you can get your protein up without a lot of fat. And that's one way to do it. Just basically choosing more lean protein sources and always aiming for about 30 to even 40 grams of protein every meal is going to get you to that mark. One other thing I will recommend, though, too, is if you are really trying to maintain a calorie deficit, you might consider 2 things. A protein supplement, a protein powder supplement can really help you to reach that number without a lot of extra calories, or even taking an essential amino acid supplement can really help, because the main thing is your body is in need of essential amino acids in order for that protein synthesis to happen for your body to rebuild the muscle tissue. So that's the most important thing. It's absolutely critical that you remember to feed your muscles what they need in order to thrive and to get bigger. And with that said, too, of course, calories, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the first do, of course, is to get adequate protein. Super important. And then the next do that you want to focus on with your strength training is do prioritize recovery. And I can't stress this enough. I know you've heard it from me before, but I'm going to say it again. It is super important to remember that muscle growth happens when we are resting after breaking down the muscle fibers. So we go to the gym to damage those muscle fibers, and then the muscle building process happens after the fact. When we are in rest and recovery mode, that is when the muscle is actually built. And so it's super important to get enough sleep. I'm going to say 6 to 8 hours minimum. And, everybody's a little bit different. Some people might be totally fine with 6. Other people really need 8. Some people might even need 9 hours. So listen to your body, know what your body needs, recognize the importance of that. And then, of course, actual rest days throughout the week are super important. I don't recommend trying to get into the gym more than 5 days a week. That's my max. and allowing yourself 2 full rest days just for rest and recovery. Sometimes that recovery can actually look like doing a little cardio, some walking, some light stretching, things like that can be really beneficial and helpful. But basically not, doing any strenuous weightlifting on those 2 days. And it's also important, and I don't think I've mentioned this before, to recognize that we also need to prioritize and allow rest in between sets when we are in the gym and we are exercising. You don't want to push yourself so hard that you're not actually even allowing yourself enough time for your muscles to be ready for the next set before you try to dive in. So if you are working with me, you'll notice that you will definitely have at least a minute of rest between your exercises in your routine. But as you continue to push more weight and you are increasing the weight that you're using, I recommend also increasing your rest time. You need to really give your muscles the ability to reset and be ready to go for the next round and get the most out of it. And so that is a perfect segue into the next big do while you are on a strength training journey. So let's talk about progressive overload. This is the next big do. We want to implement progressive overload in order to get the best results from your strength training program. So what this means is that we are adapting over time. So the way that we increase our strength, and the way that we particularly, the way that we build muscle, the way that we reach hypertrophy, which is the actual increase in size of a muscle, is by forcing those muscles to adapt to more and more stress over time. And so as we get stronger, we want to be implementing progressive overload, meaning we want to keep increasing the weight and pushing those muscles to a point of failure. And so for a lot of people who have not been doing this for a long time, they may not even actually really understand or know what failure feels like. But as you continue to push yourself, you will become more and more aware of that point for you. So you might be in the middle of a set, you might have 10 or 12 reps you're supposed to do, and those last couple of reps feel very, very hard, and you almost in your mind feel like you can't do it. But can you actually physically get those weights up and through that full range of motion? You probably can. And so we are actually really trying to push ourselves to a point where we go beyond our perceived beliefs about what we can do and actually push ourselves to a point where the muscle physically gives out to where it cannot physically get through the motion. And that is the true point of failure that we are trying to get to. Now, I'm not suggesting that anybody rush into this, okay? If you are training with me, we're going to get there very slowly and very methodically, where you want to build a baseline of strength firsthand. And, this is very important to get your initial baseline of strength before you try to really go to this progressive overload stage. But in your journey to really change the shape of your body, to really change your body composition, to really build that lean muscle mass and reduce body fat, you're going to want to implement progressive overload so that you can really push your muscles to a place of hypertrophy where they will get bigger and you will get stronger. And that's where the real change happens. And so over time, once you build that base strength, then we will start adding small increments of more weight, and you will be probably doing a lot less reps with these higher weights, but you are going to be pushing yourself to the limit. And, during this stage, you're going to be making those ugly goblin grunting faces because you are really pushing yourself beyond what you think is possible to really, to get to that point of failure. And this is where the muscle fibers are really torn down. And another important thing to mention here, of course, is that, you will have to continue to push yourself to that point and to make it a little bit harder for you because your muscles adapt over time. If you continue to just push the same weight month after month, year after year, it's going to keep your muscles conditioned, but it's not going to push your muscles to a place where they're going to grow because you're not, shifting with that adaptation. Your muscles adapt to the stress, and that becomes the norm for those muscles. So you have to keep pushing it to the next level and the next limit in order to really see your body change. So definitely, progressive overload is very important. And if you are not feeling comfortable with any of this stuff on your own, that's what I'm here for. So please do, check out my website, liftwithlevana.com. There's different options out there for working with me. It's all completely online, and everything is super simple and easy right on the EverFit app, and it is very personalized. So you are getting a lot of value for a very affordable price, and I will walk you through the steps on all of this stuff. Okay, so that leads into my don'ts now, okay? And this is a big don't that's very important. We don't want to overtrain, okay? So you might think, okay, if 3 days in the gym is good, then 6 or 7 is better, right? Well, that's wrong. It's very important to understand that with strength training, sometimes less is more, honestly. I mean, there's definitely like a magic number. If you're only in the gym maybe once or twice a week, you might not really get as good a results as you would if you're going 3 times a week. But 3 times a week is sufficient. Now, 4 is okay. I personally go 5 days a week, and I don't recommend anything over that. That's kind of the max. And but it's very important to understand when I say don't overtrain, it's not just about how many days you're actually in the gym. It's really important to understand that if you are going to the gym and you are exercising and working muscles more than 3 days a week, you're going to be, it's very important to understand that you want to have a good split that is going to prevent overtraining any specific muscles at any given time. And so a split is something like you may have heard of, like where trainers might have you do like a push-pull legs split. I personally don't really care for that particular split, and I like to have all of my clients really do splits based on upper body, lower body, full body, or if it's going to be a 5-day-a-week type of exercise regimen, then it would be more specific to particular body parts. And so I will share with you what my split looks like. So I work out 5 days a week, and I do 3 leg days, so 3 lower body days, and then 2 upper body days. And so what that looks like, and this is very important, is that you break it up so that you are never working the same muscle groups 2 days in a row. And so I will do a general lower body leg day on Sunday that is kind of more focused on mobility stuff, and not too much in the way of intense strength training, but more like supplemental conditioning type of stuff. And then Monday is my rest day. And then Tuesday, I do a quad focused leg day. That's a heavy leg day. Wednesday, I do shoulders and back. So I break it up into different body parts, but body part groups. And then on Thursday, I actually take a rest day. Okay, this is very important because we got to give those muscles time to recover. So legs on Sunday, rest Monday. Tuesday is an upper body workout. Tuesday is a leg workout. Wednesday is upper body, then rest. Then on Friday, I'll go back to another leg day. This is a glute focused leg day. And then Saturday, the legs get to rest, and I do arms and chest. And then from there, again, the next day would be legs. And so basically, as long as you are not working the same muscle groups 2 days in a row, then you are good. That would be something that would be considered overtraining that you do not want to do. So that is really important, to get that split right. And so if you are working with me, I promise you that you will definitely see that I arrange your workouts with that in mind. So definitely be aware, though, that if you are planning to do any, rearranging of your workouts, that you keep that in mind, that you don't want to be working the same muscle groups 2 days in a row, because that's not going to allow for proper recovery. And I can't stress that enough. It is so important. If you do overtrain, and, honestly, 3-4 days a week is great. 5 is okay as well, but that's the max. And you don't need more than that to really see the results. If you are executing your exercises properly and you are going for failure and you are implementing progressive overload and you are getting enough protein and you fueling your muscles properly with the right, macronutrient ratios and all of that important stuff, you will get the results that you're looking for. If you try to push yourself harder than you need to, that can lead to burnout, and that can definitely lead to injury. And that is something that we do not want. We don't want to get hurt here. Okay, guys? So don't overtrain. All right. And another big don't that I like to repeat on a regular basis is don't get overly concerned with the number on the scale. So as you begin this journey, it's really been empowering for me personally, because I am one of those women, classic, influenced by society to believe that smaller is better, skinnier is better. The number on the scale is so important, that you want to be as little as possible. And when you realize, that we as women do not need to fit into that little box anymore, that it's okay for us to be strong, to even be bulky. Women talk about they don't want to lift weights and because they might get too bulky. Well, what's wrong with being too bulky? It's okay. We're not going to wind up looking like men, and we're not going to look like these, women that, compete in bodybuilding competitions that are on steroids. We're going to be strong and fit and have some muscle, and you might have to go up a size on your jeans, but that's okay when when your body composition is different and it's lean muscle mass and not just body fat. It's beautiful, and you should embrace that. And so we're not going to get too concerned with the number on the scale, especially because, again, muscle weighs more than fat. So even though that number might be going up, that does not mean that you're not losing body fat. As you continue down this road, your body is going to shift and become a fat burning machine. As you become more of an athlete with your routine, with your strength training, as a strength training athlete, you are going to naturally begin to see your body shift into burning fat for fuel and, growing those muscles so that you can be strong. So let's not be too concerned with the number on the scale, and instead gauge our success by how we feel, how our clothes fit, and and be proud of our strength. I mean, to be able to do pull-ups or even just whatever your goal might be, and sometimes that's different for everybody. To just be able to do an overhead shoulder press with 25-pound dumbbells, like that's amazing. So let's celebrate those small wins along the way and recognize that it's okay for women to be strong and to be bulky if we want to be bulky. All right. And another very important one that kind of goes along with that is that on this strength training journey, it is very important to not overeat or undereat. So when you have, specific goals here, of course, if you are trying to shed body fat, you are going to need to maintain a calorie deficit. But at the same time, when you're trying to build muscle here, we need to recognize that our bodies need calories in order to do that. So this is a really big one that I've struggled with and realized over time that I was cutting myself short because I was engaging in intense strength training, but I was still obsessing over this idea that I need to eat as few calories as possible so that I can have my dream body and be thin, right? Just still stuck in that mindset. And it's very important, to recognize that your body actually needs calories to build muscle, not just protein, but actual calories. So you have to fuel your body if you want to build that lean muscle mass. We need to not be afraid to eat. And as long as you are eating healthy, nutritious food that is providing nutrients to your body that it needs to thrive, then you don't need to be overly concerned. Trying to stick to some kind of 1,200 calorie diet because you've always thought that that's the way that you lose weight is going to be counterproductive for you on this journey. again, if we are really serious about wanting to get that lean, toned look that we're going for here, we need to recognize that that involves building muscle mass. And we can't build muscle mass if we don't feed our muscles what they need to grow. So, with that said, do not undereat. Very important. Make sure that you are hitting your macro goals where they should be. If you have body fat to shed, you might need to maintain a slight calorie deficit, but nothing too extreme, because you need that energy to get through your lifting sessions. So if you have questions there, please do comment. Let me know. On that note, any other topics that you want me to cover too, if you have questions for anything, I would love to hear from you to give me some ideas for my next podcast. So feel free to reach out and let me know. And so, let's not be afraid to eat. Let's not be afraid to lift heavy. Let's not be afraid to get some muscles and maybe be a little bit bulky, if you want to call it that. I don't even consider it bulky, honestly. That's just a term, but it's being strong and beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with that. So let's own that and, enjoy the ride and recognize that there are so many benefits to strength training beyond what it does for your body, like aesthetically. Regulating hormones and helping you sleep better, regulating your mood. That's a huge one. Like, I know for me that, starting this journey has really changed my overall perspective on myself and on life, and my anxiety. I used to suffer from very severe anxiety once upon a time, and it has really, really helped me to overcome a lot of these mental health issues that I've dealt with, and to really come into a place of being confident in myself as a woman, and and not being so obsessed with just being skinny. And it feels great. It feels good. So with all that said, guys, if you're new around here and you're not already training with me, again, check out my website, liftwithlevana.com. You can get started right away with just the basic training, or I have a package that includes training along with nutrition coaching, super affordable, and I'm excited to work with you. So if you appreciated what I've shared today, please leave me a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video for me. And I will be back next week with the next episode. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching.